Chris Eubank Jr. versus Connor Benn. Wow. The lead up to that is tasty. Fight of the decade.
I spent a little bit of time with Connor last year, and I've never taken someone on the pads as fast and as powerful as Connor Benn. Like, pound for pound, he's scary. I got a shock, to be honest. And I've, as you know, I've trained a lot of people from heavyweights down to baby weights. He's an animal. My concern is his emotion, and I wouldn't like that to overspill before he fights.
Yeah. Because
you could lose a lot of energy before you want to do your job. I think Chris Eubank is a great boxer. Connor's a great boxer and fighter. But it's a big test for Connor. Chris is more experienced than Connor. But they're both very good at what they do. More than the physical training or the physical fight, I think the mental fight is
100%.
It's huge in this as well.
So we talk about the mental fight. Chris Eubank Jr. is a master at winding just everybody up. He's doing his job to sell the fight.
Yeah.
And he's doing it well if we look at it in that context.
Yeah, of
I
course.
don't agree with everything he's necessarily saying, but he's selling the fight.
Yeah.
Or I don't agree with everything he's necessarily done. However, he's sold the fight. I think it was Bradley Skeet or a number of people, that boxing people, we're all kind of saying the similar thing, that Connor Benn now could be the most dangerous fighter after that incident, after that egg incident, but it's whether he can have controlled aggression within that fight and not let the emotion take over.
I've seen Connor spar twice. I oversaw the spar last year. What he's capable of is extremely dangerous. But that's just the practical, physical side. The mental side is going to get more intense as you get closer to the fight. And I hope he can control his emotions, because if he can't, I think Chris will beat him. I don't want Chris to win, because I know Connor, of course I want him to win. But I think Connor will lose if he don't control his emotions. If he does, I think he'll beat Chris in 2 rounds.
I'm sure Tony Sims also realises that his fighter has a short fuse. If they get that right, though, if they work that out, do you think Chris Eubank Jr. has handed, effectively, Connor Benn the key to unlock a win?
Yes.
By poking and prodding and...
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know Connor incredibly well. I know that one of the conversations I had with him when I met him is I said to him, it's probably quite risky as well, because I didn't know him, and I said, you wasn't very good when you started boxing. And he looked at me, he had no emotion, he was listening. And I did say to him, but a credit to you and Tony, because what you've done together over the years is phenomenal in your development. Like his physical attributes and the components that boy has are tremendous. And if anybody looks back at his early fights, he wasn't very good. So the development is there to see. No one can argue with that. The emotional side, like I said, I can't comment too much on that. I don't know him that well. But all I do know is if he controls that, I don't think many people would be able to handle standing in a ring with him, because he's a scary guy. Like I said, even when I took him on the pads, he went at me and he finishes that close to your face, like his dad. So it's going to be a great fight, and I hope Connor wins, and good luck to the pair of them.
Yeah, they're both playing their part. I do think sometimes it's slightly too easy to wind up Ben. I'm like, come on, man, don't allow him to wind up.
This is the thing, right? I'm assuming that he's wound up. We all are. I'm assuming that he's wound up. We don't know what he's really thinking, because he could be, a master of psychology for all we know.
I'm going to be honest. And I like Chris Eubank Jr., but I'm like, keep prodding him.
Yeah, he's like
keep poking him.
He's like a pit bull in a lead. Once he comes at you, forget about it. Because he hits really hard. I mean...
He's explosive and all, isn't
he? He hit me in the side and I hit it well. But I was thinking, Jesus Christ, what my draws. But no, he's fantastic. And listen, Andy, Connor aside, I think Chris Eubanks doesn't get the credit he deserves either as a fighter. Forget his personality and if people like him or not. He's really good at what he does.
He's excellent at what he does.
And at times I thought he wasn't. But today I would say, yeah, upon reflection and looking at his career and watching the fights he's had, he's a very good fighter. Connor needs to remember that.
Here's the thing. I personally think those two both get a raw deal because they're kids of two great fighters.
Yes, I guess that's just a byproduct of being your father's son. You know, I'm sure even in a coaching category, like probably Shane McGuigan probably gets that, but he's a good coach.
True.
You know, these guys get it and they're good fighters. If you've done your work, it don't matter what people say. If you've got the results, who cares anyway? It must be a strain at times, but that's why including the mental development as a fighter is important, because you've got to handle all these outside pressures. And no matter what I say about it doesn't matter what people think, you know, it's easier said than done.
And this whole egg incident, I mean, you laugh, but there's a part of... Is there a part of you that thinks, oh, that's great marketing?
Yeah.
Or are you leaning towards that's overdoing it, it's too much?
No, that's just, it's nothing in comparison to, you know, we've had a lot more serious incidents than that. When David glassed Derek, how about that?
Yeah, but that was a reaction to Derek coming towards him. I'm not trying to say it was right, but he had the glass in his hand, didn't he? He done him with a shot.
Don't mess around with David.
He was coming towards him and David just done him with a shot.
Don't mess around with David.
Yeah, you know, let's be fair.
Yeah, that's what happens.
I remember that.
That's what happens. You f around, you find out, right? But look how much... I'm not saying you should go and people, but the fact we're talking about it now.
Yeah, and it must be more than... Would you say 15 years?
Yeah, probably. Just under that, I reckon.
Yeah.
13, maybe around that time. But, like, you know, then look at Derek. He's thrown tables at people.
Okay, so I'm just interested in your opinion about this whole alleged substances that everybody seems to still keep going on about with regard to Connor Benn. Do you think that there's slight hypocrisy that people still keep going on about this guy allegedly taking performance-enhancing, and yet they don't talk about other people that have been caught?
I think people will always say what they feel is relevant to rattle the cage. So, yeah, do I think there's hypocrisy?
I'm just talking about the whole of boxing, because it seems to be...
The thing in boxing.
It just seems to be... And again, I'm not saying that it's right, and I'm also not saying that he did it, but I just feel a little bit... There's a bit of hypocrisy in professional boxing around this whole issue.
Yeah, is the short answer. Once you do anything and you're in the limelight, it's going to be used against you... or used for you in a negative or positive way your whole career. There was a Polish heavyweight, when I was looking on WADA or on UCAD or one of those websites last year, and you see people who have been banned and it doesn't get mentioned. But obviously there's no commercial viability to these people. So that's why. Dillian got it bad.
Dillian did, but Canelo did not.
This is the thing. I think it's important for everyone that works in boxing to understand the commercial aspect, can't get my words out, commercial aspect, the showbiz part of it, and to make peace of it. This sport is difficult. When you win, a lot of people say you should have lost. When you lost, they say you should have lost. And I think it's just important to get on with it, no matter what happens, and no matter what people say, because ultimately all that matters is you get in the ring and you deliver. And you keep trying to do that and then eventually retire and you're healthy, happy and secure. And people will still say stuff about you then anyway. So It's easy to say who cares, but I think it's something to be mindful of.
So I'm guessing you're going 100% toes deep in Connor Benn for the
Are
win.
you telling me that I am?
Well, I'm asking you. I said I presume.
If he can control his emotions, yeah, 100%. If he can't, I think it's a difficult night. And if I was to give you my assumption, I think if he doesn't control his emotions, it will be a fight that goes to duration, and it will be messy, chaotic, and full of drama. So it probably be good for the fans over a longer period, because they get more money, get more for their money, wouldn't they? But if he's ready, really ready, it could be the first round.
Yeah.
That's how I feel, just based on the little that I don't know a lot about him, only the little that I know. That's what I
I'm
think.
so excited for this fight.
Yeah. So I'll be interested to see what the odds are.